Struggling with your irons is one of the most frustrating things in golf. You hit your good drive, you top it, you thin it, you chunk it, you duff it, you do all the stuff that you don't want to do with irons. Here's the biggest reasons why people struggle with irons. The biggest mistakes with easy fixes. Let's get straight to it. So straight into number one is concept. So there's a lot of golfers out there that just do not know what the club needs to do and what you need to do. And a lot of the time, everything you do in your swing, in your setup, is based around that idea. So a lot of golfers that come to me, or if you ask the question, should impact look like this, this, or this? You would be amazed by how many people think the club maybe goes this way to start to lift the golf ball. That is not the case. That actually makes your contact so much worse. Straight up and down, slightly better, not the preferred option. We want the club to be leaning forward. We want the handle ahead of the club head and a flat left wrist. So that's how we want the club to approach the golf ball. Roughly speaking, 7-iron numbers, we want the club to be roughly 4 degrees down as it travels into the golf ball, with less loft, with forward shaft lean. What does that cause? That causes the ball to spin, to go airborne, to launch. And as the club's still travelling down, that's when it strikes the ground. That's low point, that's the bottom of the swing after the golf ball. And then the club head starts to travel up. So that is one of the most important things you need to know. Where is low point? What does your club need to do? Then how do you do that? How do you do that with your body? So first of all, the best chance to get that is obviously having more weight on the lead side at impact. If we're hanging back, this club head is going to throw its way past the hands. We're going to get the shaft lean away from the target. We're going to add loft. We're going to get to your low point before the ball. Obviously, this is an extreme example, and that's where a lot of golfers' frustration comes from. So making sure that you're not thinking that way. Don't scoop, don't help, don't lift, don't flick, none of that. We cannot do that with an iron. That is going to lead to inconsistency, frustration, and bad golf. So first of all, we need to get more weight on the lead side. There's lots of good drills for that. The step and hit drill is a really good one to get the feeling of shifting weight towards the target. The impact drill is another really good one. So start with more weight on the left leg and learn to hit some shots. So you practice that impact position, you get used to that feeling. These are a couple of the most important points. So weight goes on the left, nudge the hips over, and then from there, just work on keeping that weight on the left side. One of the most important things with irons. Number two, where you look. A lot of golfers actually look at the back of the ball or underneath the ball. And actually, if we can change our focal point to being in front of the ball, because that's where we want to hit the ground, that can have an enormous impact on your shots. So one of the drills that you can do, you can place a broken tee either in the ground or in front of the golf ball and make that your focal point. You're going to look at that tee. That is where your club should strike the ground. We collect the ball along the way. So you've got the ball, you've got the tee after the golf ball. Ball first, tee second, and good strikes. And that's a really simple one that you can do. You can do that on the driving range. You can do it on the golf course. Just pick a little blade of grass or a spot in front of the golf ball. And these couple of things can make a huge, huge difference to your strike. Before you do anything with your golf swing, these are things that you should be doing when you hit your iron shots. Before we move on to tip number 3, if you found this video useful, if you've ever got any value, any useful tips from the channel, smash that subscribe button. We've got golf tips coming your way every single week, and if you smash that subscribe, you will be first to know about them. Comment below what you want to see, what are you struggling with at the moment, and we'll make sure we get that help on the channel. So a slight take on number 1. Number 3 is having enough weight on your left side. A lot of golfers go 50-50, or even sometimes, more often than not, we see a lot of golfers setting their hips into the right side. My preference for you, if you're going to strike your irons really, really well, is start 55-60 in the lead side, in the left side. So if you can have your weight and your hips nudge slightly to the left, the weight slightly favouring the left side, that is a really good start point for really good strikes. So make sure with an iron, you start with a little bit more weight on the left. Don't go with the 50-50 concept, and definitely don't have it on the back foot. That's mistake number 3 that we see quite often with golfers. Number 4, distance from the golf ball. A lot of golfers struggle with this, aren't sure what distance to stand. Essentially the main thing is that you're really in balance. And what we mean by that is when you set up to the golf ball, we don't want to be excessively in the toes. That's going to hurt the rotation that we have. We don't want to be excessively sitting back. Again, that's going to be detrimental to good golf. As a loose term, there's a couple of things that we're looking for. We want the armpits, kneecaps, and shoelaces to line up. Generally speaking, if we see that, or if we see the heel line up with the hip bone, we're generally pretty balanced. We've got the weight towards the balls of our feet, not in the toes, not in the heels, pretty balanced. That is really, really good for ball striking, for rotation, all of those things. So making sure that we're there. Once we're there, and if we are there, the arms are going to hang. They're not going to be, you're not going to be too far away, which would probably get you on your toes. Arms would be too extended. You might see that you're kind of over the ball a bit too much. Equally, if you're too close, you're probably more into the heels. You probably sit the backside out a bit too much, and the hands get too close to the legs. That would be the sort of 2 most common postures that we see. So we want to be in the balls of the feet. We want the arms to hang under the shoulder, not on the inside, not extended out too far. And roughly speaking, between the club and your legs, about a fist or a palm length away from your legs. Roughly speaking, again, it's a loose term, depends on how you stand normally, depends on the length of your arms, depends on a lot of different things. But if you get into that bracket, especially the balance points, that can get your posture in a much, much better place, ready for good golf. And number 5 is probably the most common thing that a lot of golfers struggle with, maintaining their spine angle throughout the swing. And what I mean by that is some golfers are losing height, some golfers are standing up. And in particular, probably the biggest strike killer, if you like, is if we lose this angle. So if we go back and lift this left shoulder up, that is going to get us in the danger zone. We're going to struggle for strike. So essentially what should happen in a golf swing, if you stand normal, so just grab a club like this, if you bend to the left, so that's called side bend, if you bend to the left and then keep that angle and turn to the right, that is what we want to do. So let's have a look at it from here. Bend to the left, turn to the right. That keeps that inclination in the shoulders, which really helps you stay in posture and get really good strikes like the pros. This is one of the things that we see the majority of pro golfers do. We very, very rarely see the left shoulder lifting up. Really dangerous move, really bad for ball striking. So even just start with this exercise. Bend to the left, turn to the right. Get familiar with that. Bend to the left, turn to the right. Get over the golf ball in your posture. Bend to the left, turn to the right. Get familiar with that, then start to work that left shoulder down more. And what you should find is that the ball striking is much better. And that's a really common problem. We see a lot of golfers, particularly beginners, and a lot of these are based around beginner golfers struggling with your irons. These are probably the 5 most important things that you need to know. So if you've started golf, if you're a high handicap, if you're not, if you're struggling with these guys, this is the place that I would start. Doing those drills, get the weight forward, get the setup right, and maintain your spine angle. Then you've got a really good opportunity to strike your irons well. And if you need any more help, check out the description link below. You've got a free swing analysis with me. You can join improve.golf with hundreds of videos on ball striking and even a free 60-minute practice plan in the description below. And if you need any more help with these guys, check out this video just here.